Yes, people, welcome to Arsenal Lounge, Arsenal Midweek Peek, people. As you can see, I've got Arsenal family with me. But before we get into it, let's smash the intro.
Thomas, it's up for grabs now! Thomas!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
And there you have it, people. Surround the intro into Arsenal Lounge. A nice chilled Wednesday evening in before Champions League football. We'll be back there soon enough, people. Have the faith. Keep the faith. People, smash the like button and subscribe to Arsenal Lounge on the road to 17K, people. So we'll get there sooner rather than later. Thank you to Levs and Shaheen, of course, as I call him, the Cagney and Lacey of the football YouTube world. People old enough to remember, Gaffer will remember, I will. Cagney and Lacey, mate. People, go and check it out. Google it.
Classic.
But, I mate, classic 100%. But not the first time I mentioned to Lee before we went live. Actually, this is the first time I've got Lee to myself. I feel really, really privileged, to be honest with you. But Gaffer, thank you for agreeing to come on, mate. And how you been keeping? And welcome to Arsenal Lounge Midweek Peek, mate.
No, I've been good. Thanks for having us on, like, you know what I mean. So all good. Can't complain. Things are going really well, aren't they, in the Arsenal world? Playing some lovely stuff. You know, what a great time to be an Arsenal supporter at the moment. They're playing really, really well. The atmosphere is fantastic. Winning games of football. That's what it's all about. That's what we always wanted, you know. So, and long may it continue. Long may it continue.
Yeah, 100%, Gaffer. Amen to that. It's been a struggle to enjoy our team's fortune in recent years on and off the pitch, to be honest. But at the moment, it is. Listen, let's grasp it and cherish it, because listen, it's good times at the moment.
We had a little look at what it was like a couple of years ago, like yesterday with Marseille. Oh dear, dear.
Gaffer, we'll not get started on that. I'm this team.
That could have been an Arsenal hero, like, you know what I mean. All the times he'd been here, he had the chance to become an Arsenal hero, and he blew it. He absolutely blew it.
Gaffer, they keep on doing it, man. They keep getting wins out. I don't know how they do it. But enough about them lot anyway. We'll reconvene with them. I think we got them in January.
Yeah. Way tough game.
Yeah. So Gaffer, right. Let's kick off and get into it. We'll start off with talking about obviously the game tomorrow, but I'm going to leave the Chelsea game till last, and we'll talk about Arsenal, any other business in between that. But firstly, how was PSV? Because apart from the result, the atmosphere looked amazing.
Yeah, great couple of days over there. Like, the atmosphere is great. Dangerous in there though. It's the first time on an away game that I've sat down, because it's so steep.
Wow,
really like that. You felt that if Arsenal did score, that you'd be like, I don't know where you'd have ended up, like, you know what I mean. So so for the first time in a long, long while, I sort of sat down. I thought it was for safety reasons best to sit down. A lot of Arsenal fans done the same, as it happens, like, you know. But yeah, it was a great atmosphere, great place to go. Like Eindhoven and Amsterdam sort of mixed in both cities, which was really, really good. And disappointing result on the day. I have to say, not great performance. But to be honest, I wasn't that bothered about it. I know it sounds silly. I obviously wanted a win there, but it I don't know. You just got that vibe that even the Arsenal fans are saying, like, you spent a lot of money to go over there, Albert, and all that, like, you know, and they're going, oh, I don't want to see Jesus, don't want to see so and so, don't want to see these sort of players. So and then they're bringing them on, and we're losing them, and we're all going, what are they doing, bringing all these players and rest them for Sunday, like, you know. So it was a funny sort of game, really, like, from that point of view. But it's something special about going away to European games and seeing all the Arsenal fans there and the singing and all that, like, and PSV's got a fantastic atmosphere as well, like, you know. So it's a little built-in ground, it's always good. But unfortunately, didn't get the result. But hopefully, we'll get the job done on Thursday.
Yes, exactly. I will be there tomorrow, judges. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll bump into you at the game.
Yeah, hopefully, always good to see you.
Yeah, of course, Gaffer, of course. But unfortunately, obviously, as you mentioned, we didn't get the job done the week before, so it's a must-win game. I'm confident Arsenal can win. Listen, their FC Zurich have been proved as thus far that they are the weakest team in the group, conceded 15 goals.
Yeah.
Gaffer, in terms of the line, in terms of the team who you might expect to play or the people you expect to come in or maybe not play, it's changed a little bit. Obviously, we know with Bukayo Saka, the injury's not as serious because apparently he's back in training today, full training, I believe. So he looks like he might play a part tomorrow, possibly. The likes of talk about Tierney will probably come in, Reece Nelson possibly, Matt Turner, we don't know how serious the injury is. I think he had a groin injury, that's why I missed PSV. Must win game, Lee. I think we'll win the game personally, but what's your thoughts in terms of who you would like to see, or maybe a little bit rested, should I say?
Yeah, I know you say it's a must-win game, but it isn't. At the end of the day, if we did lose, we have to go into the next, an extra couple of games against Champions League side, which is not ideal. But it's not like if we lose tomorrow, we're out. So I still think we've got the safety net of that. So for me, I think Sunday's vital. It's a massive game Sunday, for us to do if we could get something at Chelsea. So I would like to see him go a little bit weaker on this. I say weaker, but I don't think it's if Ramsdale has to play, he has to play. But let's say if Turner goes in goal, I would go with Cedric right back for this game. Probably Tierney at left back. Central defence is going to be a problem because you've got to play one of them. So Rob Holding comes in for me as one of them, and Gabriel didn't play last week, so it'd probably be Gabriel, So then the midfield, I think El Neni will be playing tomorrow. I think that's a big one there. Lokonga and Vieira, that'd be my three midfield, and up front would be Nelson. I think he played really well, deserves another chance. Nelson, Eddie, and I want to see Marquinhos play again, So that'll be my team for tomorrow, and that should still be good enough at the Emirates to get through. And if it's not 10, 15 minutes from the end, 20 minutes from the end, you've got the big guns on the bench. No Xhaka, of course, he's suspended, but yes. You still should have enough firepower coming off from the bench.
Lee, there's two players I want to talk about in particular. One, because obviously social media world, there's always something happening with Arsenal. Certain players are always topic of conversation, should I say. The first person I want to talk about is Kieran Tierney. Like, where are you in terms of how Arteta is utilising him? Let me give you a bit of context, mate, because I look at it and I think to myself, I just think, look, there's two players particularly at Arsenal that are high risk in terms of injury or susceptible to injury. Tierney, Thomas Partey. I think with Tierney, it's just, I know Arsenal fans grumble, Tomiyasu experiment at left back, but I just think it's a case of he's being managed, Lee. That can be the only logical reason, because yes, he's a natural left back and he gives us a lot going forward and defensively. But yeah, what are your thoughts on him being in the team or what games he tends to come in?
100%. I think he's being managed for bigger and better things coming later down the line. This moment in time, you look at it and you think, well, Zinchenko's got a bit of a few problems, there's a few issues as well at the moment. So, but the good thing about Zinchenko and also Tierney is they're not going to the World Cup, so they can pick up fitness and things like that. So for me, I just think he's had a couple of injuries. They're coming back from a knee injury as well, which isn't great. I think somebody said. Well, Tomiyasu's had injuries and all that, I think said it on our stream last night, or I can't remember now. And I said, yeah, but he's not had an operation. It's an injury which when you've had a knee injury, I've just coming back from a knee injury myself, it's not easy. I'll tell you, this is a fact. Right? When I went to see the physio, when I first come back from injury, he took photos of both my legs. And he said, right, look, on the leg that was operated, he said, do you notice how thinner that is than your other leg? And I didn't notice it, didn't think it, didn't feel it or whatever. Naturally it is, you know what I mean? So you got to build all that up. You've then got to, then that's even before you do anything. And then you've got to maintain it and whatever, So I do think at the moment he's being, 2 games a week is probably too much, And people were saying, he's not playing all that. Our best away performance this season was against Brentford. Tierney was playing, so I just think it's, just take it as it is at this moment in time. It's just getting him through games. Training is important as well, building it up week in, week out. If you go to the gym, the first week you go in there, you're blowing out your backside, aren't you? But 6 weeks later, you're powering through it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's big. Why? Because you've just built up your fitness as you've gone along. That's exactly what they're doing with him. That's in my opinion. And I don't think it's anything to worry about at this moment in time. Yes, he's probably frustrated that he's not getting as much game time as he wants because, when you're injured, you want to play. But ultimately, it's not like he's not playing. He's getting one game a week in at the moment. He'll play on Thursday. He gets some sort of minutes in the games as well, Premier League games. It's not like they're leaving him completely out. If in fact, against Southampton, I thought he'd come on and improved us in that second half. So I just think it's just got to be like, just there's no reason to rush him back. If he played 2 games a week and broke down, we'd all be going, oh, why is he playing 2 games a week? And at the end of it, the drop off isn't there, is it? Tommy Asu's been waiting around. He's been fantastic since he's come back, whether it be left back or right back. He proves what a good player he is. So I don't think it's too much of a problem, really. And how can I say? I don't really care anyway. At the end of the day, you need a big squad. What I mean? No one worried how many games Wiltord got or Ray Parler got when we was winning games, or Edu or whatever. You just you went with it, and that's what I think that we got to do now. I'm a big fan of Tierney as well. What I mean? Don't get me wrong, but at the moment, I think he's not quite as good as what he was pre-injury, pre-operation, and that's natural. It's not natural, so he's going to have to work his way and just bide his time.
See, that's the thing, Gaffer, and I think what people got to remember of Kieran Tierney is he's been susceptible to injury really since his Celtic days. It's not just an Arsenal thing. He's still quite young, but he's had. I looked at his crime sheet of injuries, Gaffer. I was like, flipping hell! It's like Zinchenko's at City. Zinchenko's a tiny. Listen, like I said, I looked at his injury record at City. He worked great, Gaffer, to be honest with you. So I'm just hoping whatever injuries Zinchenko's got sort of going a bit off tangent, that he's back sooner rather than later.
He's back in training now, isn't he? And again, probably haven't rushed him back. And do you know what, they haven't had to, have they? Why rush someone like, I think there's been a little bit of that in the past. Rushing Tierney back, rushing players back. We haven't had to rush anybody back. You know what I mean? On the quiet now, they've sort of said that El Nenny's been training for the last 2 weeks. They could have probably rushed him back for the PSV game or whatever, but they thought, no, we don't need to, so it's a nice little run. I'd be very, very surprised if he's not playing tomorrow. And it's another one to have him available for the next couple of weeks. And what it does do, it makes our bench stronger for the last 2 Premier League games. And we've also got the League Cup to go through next week as well. You know what I mean? So I don't know about you, but I still want to win that game. 100%. It wouldn't be a disaster if we didn't, but I still want us to compete on all levels. So and that means more game time for the likes of Tierney, the likes of El Nenny, and Cedric and those sort of guys. You know what I mean? And that's what you need. You need these squad players to be up and running as well. So when they come in, they're getting games. I want to see in the next couple of games Lokonga playing in a different role as well. I want to see El Nenny come in there and Lokonga playing in that role there. But Tierney's 1 game a week at the moment. But I'm sure once the season starts up again, the business end of if you want to be in the chat, let's put it this way: if you're playing in the Europa League game, quarterfinals, you're going to be buzzing for that. That's as big a game as the Premier League game, So there's going to be no resting players. It'd be like you need everybody in it and available, and that's where I think they're looking at Tierney. I think he'd be all right. I think he's got to work hard for his position, but that's what you want.
Exactly, that's the thing. It's a good problem to have. Let's have it right, Arsenal fans. Listen, we've got quality in different areas of the picture with more than one player, should I say? And like I said, last season, Gaff, we only had one competition not to look forward to, but we was in, and that was the Premier League.
Yeah.
You've got both domestic cups, you've got European football. There's going to be a lot of games, and a lot of the fringe players have to step up. They have to. Not only because they have to generally anyway, but because we're doing well. When you've got to give the manager a headache. This is what Arteta wants, really. He doesn't want to be making easy decisions when he picks his 11 come a Thursday or come a Sunday or Tuesday, whenever it so be. But now, Gaffer, good points, man. But another player I want to talk about, Lee, is Mr. Nelson. Again, I was sort of looking at people's takes on. This is my thing, Gaffer. I said this the other night. It was on someone else's channel. Listen, great for his confidence, because I always say goals transcend people's games. People get talking when you put the ball in the back of the net. That's what I think. So I mentioned Iwobi in the chat. That was my issue with him when we had him. It's just that he was a good technical player and he got into the right areas, but his final end product and his goals return wasn't there. But I think with Reiss Nelson, where do you see? How do you see it with him in terms of what you've seen with his time at Arsenal and sort of what you expect to see this season? And what I mean by that is, I think I'm not getting carried away just because it's one game. We need to see a continuous run of games. We need to see him be a little bit more aggressive. We need to see him not be afraid to lose the ball and to, again, give Arteta headaches in terms of someone who we can rely on when Saka's not on it, or Saka's got that pressure behind him to say, you know what, if I'm not on my game, Nelson's going to step in. Where are you with Reiss Nelson in his time at Arsenal?
I think like a lot of Arsenal fans, probably a little bit frustrated by it all, because when he first burst onto the scene, I thought, well, he's going to be a player. It's just not quite kicked on for him for one reason or the other. Injuries, of course, have taken apart opportunities, but when you get an opportunity at a football club like Arsenal, you have to take it. And that was the opportunity for him on Sunday. He took it with both hands, you know what I mean? It was fantastic. What he's got to do now is back that up. He's not, how can I say it? Our front three at the moment is one of the most exciting in the Premier League, 100%. Probably in Europe as well. So to get into it is going to be very, very difficult. But there's so many games coming up. There's opportunities for you. You know what I mean? Like, so for Reiss Nelson now, I would imagine that he'll play on Thursday and then play on next Wednesday. May participate in the game against Chelsea, because you don't know. You know what I mean? I thought it was a fantastic interview what he said on the other day. He said, I didn't expect to be playing. I expected to be on the bench and sitting on the bench, but, got my opportunity and took it. So I think it's good. He's still young. He's still, very much of a talent. You only have to see that against Nottingham Forest. But it is Nottingham Forest. It's a game that, listen, when he came on, we was not guaranteed winning that game. I know he was 1-0 up, but we wasn't guaranteed. But he come on and contributed in for us and winning that game. So for me, couple of goals, took his goals really, really well. Now he's got to kick on, Albert. Yeah. Now he's got to go through the gears, stay injury free, keep working hard, keep doing what he's doing in training. When he gets the opportunity, he's taken, because I can tell you this now, come next year, he will get opportunities. And, listen, if at the end of the day, if he does fulfill his potential, then perhaps we'd have to say, well, we don't need to spend that much money on a wide player because we've got him, and we can maybe spend it somewhere else or whatever. This is an opportunity for him. He's got to take it. Will he? That remains to be seen. He's got the ability. He's got the ability.
It's mad, Gaffer, because I look at Reiss Nelson, and the way Reiss Nelson was sort of talked about when he was coming through the ranks, is this guy is going to be the next big thing. He to me, he should be where Saka is now, or Saka the last 2-3 years. That's the way they was talking about Reiss Nelson. But like you mentioned, the injuries, he's got to stay fit. That's one of the key things. He's had 2 loan spells where he started well, but I don't think he grabbed the opportunity when he was at Hoffenheim, I think the first time around in Germany, and obviously when he went to Feyenoord last season. And there was, even before the Feyenoord loan, there was rumours about him going out on loan, but I think he wanted to stay, which I thought, you haven't really commanded a place in the Arsenal first team since Arteta's really been here. But Lee, you know what I think it is? If he doesn't take this opportunity with the manager we've got now, he's never going to have a better opportunity.
No, exactly. You know what I mean? Listen, to get an opportunity at Arsenal as a youngster is difficult. You've got to be talented. You know, there's no two ways he's got the talent. I'm going to be honest. If I really be honest, I've probably felt that his time had gone. But a little
Same
gentle reminder on Wednesday, on Sunday that he's good enough, and I'm more than pleased for him. Like, you know, I hope it works out for him because I think he's a good lad. And he's worked hard, and you know sometimes you just need a little bit of luck in football as well as talent.
Yeah, 100%. And Jack Gaffer, moving on to our fantastic centre back, Mr. Saliba. Contract extension apparently been offered. We need to tie this guy down. I think when he came to us to start the season, he had 2 years left running on his contract, I believe. Lee. I mean, we've spoken about it before, and I'd like to get your thoughts on him, man, because obviously I know you saw him in the preseason games as well, in America. But I was impressed with what I saw with him in his time in France. But even I got to be honest, mate. I've been pleasantly surprised in a good way how good he is. And yeah, listen, the contract talk it is inevitable, and I do think he'll sign it. So, what's your thoughts, Gaffer?
I'm with you on that. Like, you know, I think he'll sign. Why wouldn't he want to sign? You know what I mean? He's doing really well at this moment in time. Listen. He had an opportunity to go to 3, 4, 5 clubs before he chose Arsenal. He wanted to come to Arsenal, and that's one of the reasons why. Listen, I've been so impressed. When I see him in pre-season in Orlando, I couldn't believe how good he was.
Brilliant.
I said it at the time. I said, you know, we've got a boy. I done an event at the beginning of the season, and they asked me where Arsenal would come at the beginning of this season. I said, I reckon Arsenal could have got a good chance of runners up. And they all laughed at me, like, you know what I mean, like, you know, and they said, well, why do you think that? And I said, because I've seen Saliba.
Yeah,
I've seen the boy Saliba, and I've seen the boy Jesus, all right, up in the flesh, and he just impressed me that much. I think he's been a fantastic addition to the team. What he's doing now, honestly, Albert, it didn't surprise me. You can ask Dan this. When I went to the first game against Crystal Palace, I said to him, like, to Dan Potts, I said, "You wait till you see him." I was excited. I couldn't wait to tell people, wait till you see Saliba. Wait till you see, you know, you'll see how good he is. You know what I mean? First of all, how big he is. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I'm glad I've been proven right. But it wasn't a masterclass. You know, you could see it from the offset that this boy's got talent. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, long may it continue.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, and you know what it is as well. One thing I looked at in terms of Arsenal with our defence, Lee, is I can't really think of many names in recent years that I've got kind of excited about defensively with Arsenal, to be honest with you, whether that be a centre-back pairing or players who bring in to try and improve the defence. But we've got the bedrock with Gabriel and Saliba for that centre-back partnership to be one of the best in the league and potentially maybe even Europe. I know people have their thoughts about Gabriel and the impulsive and likes to get in there before these strikers. But Lee, how impressed have you been with our defense? Really, to be honest, in the last, I would say 18 months probably, or 12 months.
We've got 3 proper central defenders at the moment in our club, because I'm going to include Ben White in there.
Yeah,
you know. But I've got 3. You know, Gabriel, to me, I don't know where all the criticism comes. I think the criticism comes with Gabriel because Saliba's so cool and comfortable. It just shows up a couple of little weaknesses in his game, which, by the way, last season we wasn't picking up on because it wasn't highlighted. You know what I mean? I think he's doing a great job. Makes the odd mistake. Done it again on Sunday when he put in Jesse Lingard, like, you know what I mean? So he's a little bit, but he's always been like that.
Yeah.
You know, when Saliba made a mistake against Southampton, no one says anything. It's just the way things are. You know what I mean? Like, but listen, we haven't had central defenders like this for a very, very long while.
No.
One, they're pacey. Like, you know, they're big and strong first and foremost. Well, we've had big and strong central defenders before, but with no pace and whatever. These guys have got pace to burn. It means that we can play a different way. We can play right up on the halfway line, what other teams can't do because we've got this pace to burn. And sometimes they're left two at the back, three at the back. They can cope with it, So I'm loving it that we've got two fantastic central defenders that are there all the time. And listen, Gabriel makes mistakes, but he also does some very, very good stuff as well.
Exactly.
I look at the game against Southampton, they put it on us, corner after corner after corner, and we handled it. Look, how many times you just think, we would concede. There's a different mentality with our defenders, and they're all capable of defending. And I'm enjoying it. It's great to see good central defenders. Listen, we're criticising Gabriel, and some fans, whatever they want to do is fair enough and all that, But that just shows you how far we've come. That we can criticise someone like Gabriel with some of the central defenders. I'm not going to name the central defenders that we've had, but over the years. But they're the best two since the Invincible days, and that is a fact.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I said, we've got a bedrock of a team, and we've got obviously not forgetting Ramsdale in that, because what one thing a defense wants is a goalkeeper they can trust, and vice versa. And I think we do have that with our defensive unit with the Tierney's, the Ben White's. Ben White's been outstanding, by the way. Yeah, and I think he deserves a lot more credit. And to think, Lee, 27 million euros for Gabriel, and I think and Saliba, what a steal, man! What an
unbelievable
steal.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Listen, when we signed Gabriel Cutson, no one even heard of him. No one have even heard of him. He's been fantastic signing for Arsenal. Fantastic signing. Of course, Saliba has as well. Been fantastic. Ramsdale, fantastic signing. Tomiyasu, brilliant. The work we've done with our signings over the last 2 years and that has been, fantastic bits of business. Tomiyasu, let's be honest, I never heard of him. Never heard of him. I thought at some stage, it's a little bit of a cheap stump to get the Japanese tourists over and whatever. Far from it. Far from it. He's been absolutely outstanding. Brilliant defender. Love watching him defend. I love the way he defends. Proper defender. So you look at all of our back four, all the players that have come in and done really, really well and improved us. Ramsdale's getting better and better. I think he's learning a little bit more week in, week out. He seems to be a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for?
Not so rash, calm.
Yeah, a little bit more stable in his performances, So I couldn't be more pleased. There's still got times to work on. They've got to work on things, but they're only 23, 24, 21, 22 or whatever. Plenty of time yet,
That's the thing. Gaffer makes such a good point. Particularly with Gabriel, because he's a talk of the town a lot of the time, each week in, week out. And listen, he makes mistakes. It happens. But these guys are nowhere near the prime of their careers. They're not prime Brazies and Cannavaros. It's going to take them time. And listen, we've got a defense that's physically imposing, which you mentioned. I thought, in particular, the Southampton game away, they peppered us with corners. They peppered us with long throws.
And leads, they did.
Yeah, we dealt with them all the time, and we've seen, like you said, mentality, and we're seeing a much different backline, and they give us a lot more confidence than I felt as an Arsenal fan about a defensive unit for years. So long may it continue, Gaff. I think, if anything, we should have had more clean sheets than we've had already. But that's just me nitpicking.
Yeah, took a good goal against Southampton to beat us. If I'll be honest, I thought they worked that one really, really well. Listen, I'm not going to moan about our defending. I think it's got a lot better than what I'll tell you what. There are times in games when we go a goal up, and I think, I feel so more confident in our defending now. Yeah. I really do, So long may it continue.
Amen to that, Gaffer. I totally agree, man. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, Gaffer. But sort of going to our game on Sunday, which I'm sure you're going to, Lee. I'm assuming you are. Yeah. Safe journey, mate, already.
You're all right. You're all right.
I was thinking about this last night. I knew you was coming on, Gaffer. see, going into this game now, if you look at our record at Chelsea, and I don't know, if you're doing it over 10 years, it's not great. But actually, if you're doing it in recent years in the small block, we've gone their last two away games we've won. Going into this game, Lee, do you look at it differently now that they've got a new manager in charge in terms of Potter and they've got a bit more momentum, as opposed to if they still had Thomas Tuchel there, or do you still feel pretty confident as an Arsenal fan that we can go there and get the job done? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel nothing to do with the manager. I think they've got players missing. They've got their central defenders missing. It's a good time to take Chelsea on. You know, it's not quite right at Chelsea. Otherwise, they don't sack their manager. You know what I mean? There's obviously like a lot of transition there, and it's a good opportunity. I looked at Man United the game a couple of weeks ago. Manchester United should have won it. I thought they was a far better side, and so there's an opportunity for us to take 3 points. There's also the opportunity that you can get beat there. That's what these sort of games are like. I always look at these games when you go Spurs, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Manchester City. If you can get a point from those games, then I'll take that. And if you lose them, I always think, well, it's it's 1 point more than what I thought we was going to get. That's the attitude I look in at it. But if you can get the 3 points, it's massive. It's massive if you can get 3 points against one of the big boys. It don't happen very often. No. You know, Manchester City went to Liverpool and lost. Tottenham, by the way, somehow got away with a point at Chelsea, same as Man United. And at the end of the day, both teams come away from Chelsea. If you spoke to Man United fans, you speak to Man United manager, Tottenham fans, Tottenham manager, they'll take a point at Chelsea. You know what I mean? So it's a big game for us, but I do think that we're on a very, very good run at the moment. We're looking confident. They've got problems. They don't really know what their best team is. And for the first time, well, since I can remember, I think we'll probably be slight favourites going into this game. You know what I mean? Like that's a fantastic turnaround.
Oh, it's amazing.
Turnaround. So, I fancy us. I do fancy us to go there. Do you know why? Because we're a better team, Albert.
You know, you've hit the nail on the head, Gaffer, because I think obviously, like for the Arsenal fans that's going to go there on Sunday, Sunday 12:30 kickoff.
12 o'clock. Don't be late.
Sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gaffer. Sorry, mate. I apologise. So no,
don't be getting up half hour late, guys. You know what I mean? On Albert's day, so 12 o'clock kickoff.
But Lee, that's the thing. You make a good point. It's a sign of times, mate, because as an Arsenal fan, you've been to OT, Etihad, whatever, and you're going there with trepidation, mate. Yeah. That's not the case this season.
No, that's a fantastic point. I've gone to Liverpool, Manchester City, not so much Man United, but because of what they have, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Hoping like the best you can get is a draw and not an hiding. Actually going to Liverpool and thinking like, you know what I mean, long we don't come out and Man City without an hiding, like, you know what I mean. I've come at half time at 3 or 4-0 down on both on occasions at times, you know. So listen, it's not pretty when you go to those grounds and you know you're travelling up there and knowing you're not going to win the game. You know what I mean, like it's not nice. Where years ago you used to go there always with the hope that you could win the game. Not saying you was going to go and win the game, even when we was the best team in the country. I never went to Tottenham thinking, we're going to win yes, we're going to go to Manchester United and win. But you always had the hope that you could, and there was always a good possibility. Now I've got that back again. We might get beat on Sunday. I don't know, you know what I mean? But I'm going to the game thinking that we've got a chance of winning it. Yeah, I haven't, last season, do you remember we won there 4-2? I didn't think we'd won the back of 3 defeats on the spin against Southampton, Brighton, and it was Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, yeah.
Going to Chelsea, I'm thinking it's 4 on the bounce here coming, like, you know, and we produced a performance and we won. I didn't expect it. I didn't feel that we was going to go and win there. You know what I mean? Like, best I was hoping for was a draw, but this time around there, yes, I'm not stupid enough to know that we can get beaten there because they're a good side. You know what I mean? Like, it's Chelsea at home. You know that it's going to be difficult, but I do feel that for the first time I'm going to Chelsea for a very, very long while, thinking that we could win this game. And if we don't win it, probably be disappointed, Albert.
Good. Yeah. And
Disappointed if we don't win it.
you make a good point. It's such a mentality shift change, mate, as a fan going to these big away games. You see, and I call them statement games, Gaffer, because listen, you ain't got no divine right to turn up at these grounds and go and win. But for me, it's about bloody time we started going there and competing and getting the wins, to be honest with you. And that's why it's
100%.
That's why it's so disappointing when we played United earlier this season, mate. It was set up for Arsenal to go there and give them a hiding for once. And we didn't do it. We didn't do it.
We was unlucky, I look back at that game and I look back on it. We played well that day and produced, like, if we actually played Man United and played them like that 10 times out of 10, we'd win 7, draw 2 and lose 1. It was just happened to be that's how it was, like, So listen, I think this is a massive game for us to try and win. If we was to go and win this game, like, it is a real thunder thing to say, like, banging on the thing, like, wow, Arsenal are there to stay there. Everybody's hoping that we'll lose a game, drop points and all that. But if we could go there and win this one and then go to Wolves and win the next one, top of the league going into the World Cup, like, you know what I mean? Like 14 wins. How many wins is it now? 12, sorry, be 12 wins. Yeah. 12 wins, one draw, 1 defeat after 14. Now go back to the beginning of the season. If someone said to you, you'd be top of the league, with that, you'd bite their hands of it. 100%. I was saying at the beginning of the season, like, we need to be in the top 4 going into the World Cup to go for the top 4. All of a sudden, then, you know what I mean, we're looking at different aspirations, looking at different things. You know what I mean? These next 2 games are massive for us. 2 difficult away games. I don't care what anybody says. It looks like Wolves are going to have a new manager come next week. Yeah, 100%. Right, back to the old days, that is, Albert. Like, you know what I mean? Managers turning up, like when we go and play them, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, listen, it is what it is, but it won't be easy. Never is at Wolves. I'm going to be honest. I've never really enjoyed going out. It's a funny old ground to go because they have the fans all along the side, so you can't get no atmosphere going. They're very clever how they do that. So that's a difficult one. But this is a massive game for all things, and it's a good time to be taking on Chelsea. They've the central defenders are missing, so they're going to have to mix and match at the back. Reece James, who's a very, very good player, causes problems.
Massive miss for them. Yeah,
massive miss for them. You got Martinelli over that side. How do you control him at times at this moment in time? Saka and Jesus. And I'm going to say it now, and I'll say it again. He is due.
Going to come
for
on
a few goals.
Yeah, come on to
and do you know what? If he hasn't scored for 3 or 4 games, or 5 or whatever it is, and he goes and bangs in a couple at Chelsea, I think most Arsenal fans will take that.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that, Gaffer. But you're right, mate. You're right. I mean, it was talked about of Arsenal. We haven't beat anyone yet. That's what I so wanted them to turn Liverpool over, and we did, and we deserve to win. And people have to give us the due respect. Not all of us will do it because that's just tribalism of football fans. But listen, we'll leave them to it, Gaffer. But yeah, and
we needed that result. We needed 100%. That result. That was a big, when we just talked about statement wins, that was a statement win because what you've done is you beat Spurs the week before, but we always do well at Spurs at home, so people would use that, that little stick to beat you with. Oh, well, you always beat Spurs at home, and they always beat you at Spurs. So okay, fair enough, but we don't always beat Liverpool, and they come there, and I've watched Liverpool about 3 or 4 games. After that, they've not got to that heights of that performance.
Yeah, 100.
They had to play that well, but they played to their best of ability that day, and we had too much for them. So that was a massive win. That gives you a lot of confidence. But I do think that game took a little bit out of us, took a lot out of us. As I'm pretty sure, like when Spurs and Liverpool come together, that would take it. Same as this one, don't beating around the bush. Whatever happens on Sunday, it will take a lot of mental strength away from you, zap you a little bit, because it's these games that like you cruise against. Not as for us because but this game would be right up there, intensity, everything that goes with it, like, you know, and then
Yeah,
you've got
no,
to go
no,
again afterwards. So, you know, if we win, you know, fantastic, but then, you know, you got to get ready for the next one. That's what it's all about now. Like, it's fantastic that we're in this
position.
ring. You know, like the last 2 times we've gone to Chelsea, we've won, fantastic, but they haven't really meant a lot to us.
But
You know
this
what I
one,
mean? Other than we've beaten Chelsea. You know, the one when we won 1-0 was just before the cup final. For them, and then when we beat them last season, in the end, it didn't really mean too much. We was behind the black ball as far as the Champions League was concerned at that stage. It was only that we went on a good run after that, only to lose to Spurs and Newcastle at the end. So for me, this is massive game for us. This is one that will tell me a lot about Arsenal, and hopefully we get the right result.
Yeah, 100%, Lee. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Big up to the people in the chat. Thank you for tuning in on this Wednesday night. Smash the like button. I think there's 60 people in the chat. Thank you. So smash the like button and get them algorithms up, people. And subscribe to Arsenal Lounge if you haven't already, people. But Gaff, before I get your score prediction, I'm going to come to you and talk about Jesus. Gabriel Jesus. Listen, yes, strikers ultimately get judged on goals. But I think it's different with him, Gaffer. I think it's different with him. When you look at Arsenal, in terms of our goals returns, in terms of our strikers, wasn't great. I was actually quite surprised with some Arsenal fans when we was linked with Jesus that they didn't want him. I mean, I would have drove to Manchester and bought him here ASAP if it's down to me. I'd seen enough in the 4 and a bit years he'd been in the Premier League with City as winner and all the rest of it, the talk. But Pep speaks of him very highly, but he's been a tremendous acquisition since he come to Arsenal. Yes, 7 games without a goal. Last goal was against Tottenham, but he got 2 assists, I think, on Sunday League.
Listen,
go on, come in, Gaffer, come in.
No, I'm going to come in, like, you know what I mean? When we signed him, I wasn't that excited about it, if I'll be honest, because of what I'm seeing now. The goal scoring record. Well, I wanted to see a goal scorer, right? You know what I mean? And I looked at him at Man City and I said, like, you know, look at all the chances that they create at Man City. He ain't that prolific and all that, like, you know. Once you've seen him live, different kettle of fish. Now, I'm being honest. People go, well, you've seen him live at Man City. I'm not interested in what Man City are doing.
Yeah.
When I'm watching Arsenal play, like, you know what I mean, like, and if you look back at going into the game against who did Gabriel foul to get sent off last season? Jesus.
Yeah,
they go on and win the game. So we contributed without scoring that day, like. But you don't look at that because you don't see it. But now I'm watching games when he's playing for Arsenal. I'm seeing him run, chasing down left backs areas. I'm seeing him winning the ball. I see him win the ball in midfield against Southampton and get on the end of a chance. All right, he missed it, but he's creating. Arsenal this season, like, you know, goal difference of plus 19, Albert. This time last season, we was on -1, -2. So that's the improvement that he's done to this football club. He might have not scored the goals himself, but we're now plus 19, which is the second best in the league. So that tells me that we're scoring lots of goals, and it's not a problem. It's not, but he needs to get goals, and he will do if he continues to get on the chances that he will get the chance. So for me, it's not a problem. But I wasn't overwhelmed when we actually signed Jesus because I was like looking probably at his goal record.
I remember,
an all-round player. Now watching him live, a lot of, and I can tell you that when you're watching him live, you see a lot. You see the whole picture. You see what he's doing, the work rate, and what he's doing, and things like that. He has put Arsenal from there to there with work rate, industry, well, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, like tenacity, skill levels, hold up play. Now, listen, another thing, like, you know, this needs to be said, and ball comes across to him. We're 1-0 up for Nelson's goal, right? Greedy strikers, desperate for a goal. What do? Try and turn and shoot themselves. He doesn't. He sees the bigger picture, plays in the player. We go 2-0 up. Proper team player, not just a goal scorer.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, like I said, ultimately he'll get judged on goals. But I saw an article, Gaff. I think it was in the Guardian, and I think there's basically the crux of the article was he may not be your, let's just put a bracket on it, 25, 30 goal season man, but he's the right man for Arsenal.
Yeah,
And I thought
exactly right.
I thought, you know what, that person,
Great article.
yeah,
there.
that was a great piece. He's right. He's been better than what I thought he'd be. What I've seen of him at Arsenal, if I'm being honest with you. You never guarantee that. Yes, I think the one advantage we had, Lee, and I always say this, I'm big on this, massive on this. I would like to see Arsenal, when it came to transfers, buy within the Premier League.
Yes.
People always question it. I'm like, but they've been here, they've seen the league, they understand the pace of the league. They won't need time to settle. They won't need time to settle in, and that's why I was a massive advocate for the likes of him and Zinchenko, and people have their thoughts about Tielemans potentially coming here or other players, but I think it's paramount, Lee, that we buy players within the league.
Yeah, 100%. And we didn't do that for years and years and years. And also, you know, people have a go at me last season when I said, pre-season's important. And no, it's not. It's just pre-season is important.
Sets the mark.
Look at the pre-season that we've had this season. We've had them all there in pre-season, and they now have gone on. So when people say it's only a friendly and all that in this pre-season, it's not. It gets you going for the season. We hit the season running. Hit it running, like, you know, that first game we played. I don't know if you remember, in Orlando, we played Chelsea out there. We played Orlando with that team that started those first few games, and we hit the ground running. And that is the reason that you need a good preseason. You look at a couple of the other teams, Man United, like, you know, bringing in their players towards the end of the season. Yeah, they're playing well now, but they've dropped 6 or 7 points because of it. Like, you know what I mean? We didn't. We was right on the button from day one. And that is very, very important. And that's what we've done. And I hope we learn our lessons from that going into to future transfer windows. Yes, buying players that are Premier League experience, fantastic as well. But also getting them all involved early on in the pre-season and has been a major, major plus for us.
Yeah, 100%. Gav, before we finish, obviously, this game on Sunday, before I get your prediction, I mean, it's different. I think there's a bit of pressure on Chelsea just because I think it's 2 points in the last 3 matches. And they got a thumping out against Brighton. Potter made some interesting tactical decisions about playing wing backs with Pulisic and Sterling. But yeah, I mean, me personally, Gaffer, I think we might sneak it 2-1.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for, 2-1.
There you have it.
And I'll tell you why. I think there's a little bit of pressure on Chelsea because they lost that last game. There's also pressure on this game going in for them next week because they're away to Newcastle. So they could lose like 3 games on the spin. So there's pressure. They need to win this one at home. And listen, we're 10 points in front of them at the moment. So if we was to beat them, you know, it's 13 points. I hear Chelsea fans. Jason Cundy was on
TalkSport.
Kevin's show yesterday, like, you know what I mean? So, and it's turning around and going like, it's important that Chelsea don't lose. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you said that about Chelsea, like, you know what I mean? So mentally, we've got them slightly over the barrel here, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we've got to be ruthless with our chances. If we take our chances, we'll win this game, like, you know. So I'll take 3-1. I'll bite your hand off for 3-1. Like, you know, but I think it'd be a little bit closer. But I do think that I am going there thinking that we've got a great, great chance of winning. So I'm optimistic.
That's what it's about, Gaffer. Listen, the team has given us something to smile about. It's been a positive start. The football's a lot better. Jesus, man. I mean,
great to watch.
Yeah, great to watch. Great to watch. And listen, we're going to these games now. We're in confident and buoyant mood. So yeah, me and Gaffer are going 2-1. Someone's put 3-1 in the chat. Gaffer, we've come to the end of Arsenal Midweek Peek.
Enjoyed it. How quick set gone now?
I know. We rattled through quite a bit. People in the chat, get your virtual waves and goodbyes in and smash the like button. Like I said, thank you for a brilliant interaction. And yeah, hopefully Arsenal got around the game. So obviously Zurich tomorrow, Chelsea, Brighton in the EFL Cup, and then we've got Wolves. I think it's a Saturday game, Lee, 7:45. I believe it is. I think
7:45. That's a bit of a nuisance. That is, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, but going up to Wolves as well, but no night out in Birmingham because the time we get done, it'll all be done, like, you know what I mean. So there you go. But
no, Gaffer, thank you for joining, man. Like I said, this is the first time I had you on my own, man. I'm buzzing, man. Happy, mate.
No worries. Been a pleasure.
No, it has been a pleasure, man. People, obliterate the like button, like I said. And if you haven't already, subscribed to Arsenal Lounge. But that is AlbertJTV over and out on Arsenal Lounge with the gaffer, Lee Judges. People, see you soon. Come on, you Gunners.